the highlights now, and Memorial Stadium as the Buckeyes take the field. A less than capacity crowd here, kind of surprising, but Illinois has only sold out one game so far this season, and this was not it. But we start with an Andy Groom kick. He knocks it down out at the 8-yard line, Coach, and the battle of field position is on. Well, that was huge. You know, we've been talking all season about the special teams on the road, and Andy started us out well. Antonio Harris just clobbered right there in the middle by Matt Wilhelm. Our defense does a great job against the run, and they were coming after him all day long. David Thompson, one of those guys coming after him, a fifth-year senior on their senior day, showing him what it's all about. Well, I think David had at least 2 sacks on the night, and it's great to see him have a career-best year. He sneaked a couple more in there. He had 4 on the day. What a great night he had. Lydell Ross offensively. Good looking run there, good hole, and you know, the sparring matches on. 8 yards on the pickup, then Craig Krenzel. From the 6-yard line now, this is a touchdown in a lot of people's books. Well, it usually when you are able to hit that orange pylon it counts, but it didn't. And we had a couple of penalties, unfortunately, but Mike Nugent banged it through. 33 yards from Mike Nugent. Field goal is good. Ohio State takes a 3-0 lead on the road with a lead early. You like to get the crowd out of it. Well, no doubt. Plus the folks that were there for us were in it. So it was exciting. 14 yards to Chris Gamble. Be the only catch of the day for Gamble. 14 yards on the pickup. That was good pass protection there, and Craig found him on the sideline. Maurice Hall, nice 1-2 punch there in the backfield. It was really good to see Lydell and Maurice both go after it, and as the game went, I thought they got stronger, and it's great to see their great young men. 16 yards on the pickup, then a 47-yard field goal and a 6-0 lead. Ohio State on top, and that is how the first quarter ended. 23rd straight dating back to last season, 22 straight this year from Mike Nugent. It's good to get the lead on the road, but you need touchdowns when you're on the road. Those field goals don't build up enough of a lead. Now, Illinois has got a little bit of the wind with them, but there you see Kenny Peterson and Will Smith making the sack. Loss of 9 on the play. Back on offense for the Buckeyes. Maurice Hall accelerates once again out of the backfield. Good looking play there. Nice job by Brandon Joe leading him in there on the ice play, and Shane Olivier was doing a good job there with Bryce Bishop and Alex Stepanovich. Now we're back to the air, and good looking conversion to Michael Jenkins. 3rd and 2 play, pickup of 11. That'll get it done. Jenkins on the catch, as you said. 37-yard field goal ended the streak as it was missed by Mike Nugent, and then the defense steps up again. Loss of 1 on the play by Harris. There again, Matt Wilhelm, the guys in front of him, plugged up all the gaps, and he played along that piano keyboard and went up and made the hit in the gap that was open. 3 and out there defensively, puts OSU back on offense. Complete again to Michael Jenkins. Good looking catch there, and Craig put it the only place it could be, and again we had fine pass protection. Maurice Hall running play. Yeah, a little counter play there. There was something new that we added for the day, and Maurice did a good job finding some yards. You keep going after it with the battle of field position. The punt was down at the 4-yard line, and now Illinois trying to take over, and Mike Doss here on John Butcher. Big hit there, and when the QB steps up and runs, you get nervous, but our guys really close on him fast. Antonio Harris is going to haul this in, but he's hit immediately there by Wilhelm. Our guys fly to the ball, and if they keep playing with the speed they're playing, this defense will be remembered. John Gonkman knocks it through the uprights. 40-yard field goal there, and Illinois on the board. 6-3 the count at that point, and that is how the first half ended, 6-3 as well. And the Buckeyes playing, you know, well on the road, getting out to a start, a lead, and then hanging on to it in the end. A defense once again coming up ready to play. Well, they really did, and if we could have made those 2 field goals be touchdown drives, you'd have really felt in decent shape there. But, you know, again, that's something we've got to get to the point where we're getting 7-pointers, and thank goodness for Mike Nugent, even though he missed one in that first half. He's been extraordinary this year. You ask, can he make them all? And up until this point, the answer's been yes, but, you know, he's really human. I tell you what, and he's a great kid, and he's done a great job on kickoffs. We kick off into the wind, and he's putting them in the end zone. When we're with the wind, he's putting them in the stands. Still in the end zone, into the wind. That I think was most impressive in the punting game, getting the job done as well. But you get out and you get into this game, and it's again just like last week against Purdue. You had a battle of field position and wind also. Well, no doubt about it. When you're going to play in the Big Ten in November, it's going to be windy, and field position is huge. We were real good in the special teams until you'll see in the second half
when we let that punt return go.
But winning it so far, you say you want to get in the red zone and you want touchdowns out of that. But to this point in the game, to halftime, Illinois had not gotten in the red zone. And we're going to go to second half highlights when we come back here. For the second straight week, you face the #1 offensive team in the country, or not in the country, in the Big Ten, I should say. A pretty good team in its own right around the country, but the first-ranked defense in the country as well, and it's a defensive battle to this point.
Well, there's no doubt about it, and now as we enter the second half, we had to make a win decision. It was our choice, so we took the ball as opposed to assuring ourselves the win in the fourth quarter. But again, we thought it was important not to give that good offense another possession.
That was exactly the decision last week as well.
Exactly.
So you go into it, and you're going to have the wind in the third quarter, and obviously that has a bearing on play calling, because in the first quarter, you go right after them and you take a shot at the end zone and you're doing some things that you might not do into the wind.
Well, that's right, and we wanted to try to see if we could build the lead a little bit, and usually as the evening grows, the wind dies a little bit, and I think it did just a little bit, because I don't know that last quarter it was as devastating against us, but it was you knew it was going to be another 30-minute battle.
That was certainly the case, and 30 minutes left to decide this one. See if the #1 defense could hang on against the #1 offense in this instance. Start back off, Illinois with the ball.
They started to try to run it a little bit, but they couldn't get enough going there to make that their steady diet, so they ended up throwing it 46 times in the football game. But here you see the double route. They faked a little slant and pumped and hit the double route there for a touchdown. I think that was after the punt return, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. It was a 52-yard punt return.
Right, which, you know, that set it up. But here, you know, the one thing I liked coming out of that drive, all of a sudden they were ahead, but our people came out, and we probably ran the ball better in this series than we had the rest of the evening.
Really looking for an answer offensively, and you get it in the form of this 50-yard pass that Michael Jenkins said was hung up in the lights. He never really saw it until it was in his hands.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was well thrown, and we were with the wind there, and it was a huge play for us.
Back on defense, turnovers, always important. You only got one, but that was all you needed at this stage.
Well, we won the turnover battle 1-0, which when you go on the road and have 0 turnovers, you will have a chance to win. Here they're back. We ended up punting, and they're back with the football, and our guys are getting after them. There you see David Thompson, Tim Anderson, Will Smith, all over the football.
Butcher buried there. Now another loss of 7 on this sack. Wilhelm, Tim Anderson in there.
Will Smith had the original pressure there, and our guys, our defensive staff did a great job scheming there.
Knocking them backwards. 47-yard field goal by Gocklin, though, is through the uprights, and that's good. And it's tied 13 apiece at this point.
Well, to their credit, when you can hit a field goal like that into that wind, you're in pretty good shape. And here you see Craig Krenzel finding Mike Jenkins, and they ran a little cross route there and moving the football down the field.
Yeah, 3rd and 14, a pickup of 9, so that sets up 4th down and a shot at a 37-yard field goal upcoming here from Mike Nugent.
This one right here. This sets it up, yeah, to Chris Vance. There we go. There's a little jailbreak screen there. He had an option of throwing it either way. That moved us up and made it a 37-yarder, which we thought was very possible, and banged it up and banged it through, and 3 huge points.
Yeah, that was into the wind earlier, but that wind had died just a little bit, as you mentioned.
This was a big play coming out. We always talk about you have to win coming out and change field position. There you see Craig Krenzel with great pass protection finds Michael Jenkins. 41
yards on the pickup, so 2 catches for him and 91 yards, but he had more on the day. Those 2 biggies for certain. Craig Krenzel, this the scramble of his season.
Oh boy, of our season. It's an unbelievable effort, and Craig Krenzel loves to compete, and you know, just a joy to be around him.
3rd and 9, he picks up 10 yards. 41-yard field goal as that drive stalls a bit, though, and this just stalls left of the upright.
He hit it far enough, but just pulled it a little bit left, and again, we can't ask much more than what we've been getting from Mike Nugent.
So Nugent, 41 yards, Ohio State 16-13. The score remains. Harris stopped, loss of 3.
Here we are coming after him again. See David Thompson forces the fumble there. We didn't end up with it, but Timmy Anderson's down in there, and we're putting pressure on him all day long.
And another near turnover right here. Matt Wilhelm nearly grabbed it.
Matt Wilhelm. Later in the day, Michael Doss had one. He had his hands on. Our guys are flying around the ball, and here they are banging the field goals, and got to give them credit. They knocked them through.
A 48-yard field goal there from Gockman. That's the end of regulation, so Ohio State heads into its first ever overtime.
Yeah, here was a good-looking play. As you see Craig step up, and you know, one thing we always say, you step up and throw or step up and go, and he's been doing a great job. He had 12 carries on the night. 4 of them, I think, were sacks, but 8 good step-ups, and here you see a nice, well-blocked play. Nick Mangold did a good job getting up on the middle linebacker. Adrian Clark pulled for the front side linebacker. Ben Hartsock stretched it out, and Maurice Hall in the end zone. 8
yards and a 23-16 lead. Then you get the great big defensive play again by David Thompson in overtime, sacked, and it looks like it's over at that point.
Well, they did a nice job of coming back and making some catches, and this one happened to be out of bounds. And then the next one here happened to be juggling as they're going, which was a good call. We were standing right there along the sideline, and this one we put some pressure on them. All of a sudden the ball is swatted away, and they were running a little slant pass, and that's all she wrote.
Looking at a 3-step drop from the quarterback, and you have to get there in a hurry when it's 3 steps, but there was nobody there as the defensive line just rose up.
Well, they really did, and the linebackers were coming, and the corners were on their own. They were out on an island, but our people put the pressure on, and our defense never stops coming.
They didn't in this instance. Overtime any different, any more exciting than you remember it? You've been through it before, but yeah, this team, this school's never been through it.
Well, but the kids handled it well, and you know, again, I think they handle plays just play by play. They know what we need to do, and as we were getting ready for the coin toss before overtime, Donnie Nicky and Mike Dawson, Ben Hartsock, we were talking, and we said, you know, this is what it's all about. Overtime, national television, you know, it's a good life. And the hopes are still alive. You know, the fans have gone through it in the last 2 weeks trying to hang in there, but the guys are having fun. Well, they really are. They're playing hard, and they like each other. You know, they enjoy being with one another. They care about each other, and, you know, that's what a team is all about. We'll hear from one of those seniors up next here on Buckeye Football Weekly.